Welcome into another edition of the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Bennett Conlin, joined by a couple special guests today. We've got Joe Kuykendall, the GM of the Founding Fathers team, which is the JMU team in TBT, the basketball tournament, which we'll be talking about. We've also got Dimitrije Cabarkapa, a three-point shooting star for JMU fans who might remember, and he is on the team as well. So welcome into both of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Excited to be here. Serves a three-point shooting star and a baby hook star. You can't forget
yes.
about
The baby hook was special for sure. I guess, Joe, let's start with you. For JMU fans that have probably seen maybe some of the journey on Twitter or social media of trying to get a team into TBT to where you are now, I guess, what is TBT and how did JMU end up getting one of the 64 teams this year?
Yeah, so TBT stands for the basketball tournament. And I mean, the easiest way I describe it is it's pretty much an intramural 64-team tournament for the general public. Technically, anybody can enter a team, and that's kind of how it started out. I think 2014 was the first year of the basketball tournament, but it's kind of taken off and become this big deal where they play a 64-team tournament on ESPN. Anyone can enter a team, and the winning team takes home $1 million to split up amongst themselves, and that's kind of what they've become known for. There's no association with schools or alumni groups, but I think this year, just under half the teams end up being alumni teams. So Marquette won it last year. Syracuse won the first year. And then between, there were some non-alumni teams that won. But yeah, it got put on my radar actually while I was a current student manager at JMU. Someone had reached out to me about putting a JMU team in for various reasons or another. We didn't get in over the years. We put a really good effort in 2017 and didn't get in. And then this past year, myself and kind of my co-GM and head coach, Kevin Albright, we're like, let's give it one more shot. We have more guys playing pro. There's been more graduates. Good year for JMU men's basketball. Let's give it a try. And so we emailed TBT, our contact there, and we were like, don't BS us, be honest. Like, is it worth our time and effort? Because it is a lot of time and effort to even give it a shot again this year. And he's like, I think you guys would be in, so go all for it. And so we did. So we've actually been planning this. I think December 1st is when we sent that email. So we've been working on this since December 1st, whether it's getting guys for the roster or trying to raise funds or arrange travel for all our players. We've been working on it since December 1st, and we're excited to have a JMU team to represent, what JMU basketball stands for. And I specifically say JMU basketball because I think we're unique and that we're the only team with a women's player on our roster, because we know you can't say JMU basketball in one sentence and not talk about the women's program. So we have Kamaya Smalls as a player and Nikki Newman as an assistant coach. And so we're excited to represent both programs and show what they both mean and what they're about. And me and Kevin and all the other players have, especially on the men's side, for sure has been kind of a rocky past couple of years. And we want it to get back to a level where it was, whether it was 2013 when we were all there or back in the 90s and 80s. And so we're hoping this can kind of be a platform to help launch that and build off this momentum that Coach Byington built last year.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned Kamaya being on the team. I know some JMU fans were excited about that. So what's the roster management process like? You mentioned December, but to get someone like Dimitrije and Kamaya, those players, how do you reach out to them and when are you contacting them? And then I guess for Dimitrije, what's it like when you're being recruited, and what else are you sort of juggling in between TBT?
Yeah, so you kind of got to get I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but a centerpiece, if you will, and start with one person that you think will be good for your team, but also be someone that can help you contact other guys. Because, we were friends with all these people. We follow each other on social media, but many of them are overseas. So there's a time when we started this recruiting process. So there's a time difference, one. And two, because of the back and forth of overseas and whatnot, they sometimes have different phone numbers. They change phone numbers every year just because they get rid of their American phone and get an overseas phone. And so we weren't sure if we had phone numbers. And so I actually think we started with AJ Davis as our centerpiece back in December. And obviously there's more to talk about AJ there. But started with him and he was all on board. He went to the G League right out of college, had some stints overseas, but he's not been overseas in a year or two. And we knew this would be something that would really appeal to him because he wants to get back overseas. And so this is a way to showcase his talents on ESPN, all that stuff. So we started with AJ, and then from there, me and Kevin kind of built a list of like who was even eligible, if you will, eligible in the sense of still in shape and somebody that we would want to be a part of our team. And so I think we had a list of maybe 20 to begin with, honestly. And then we kind of like, here's our top 10, here's our top 15, all that stuff. And honestly, it kind of whittles itself down because you get some no's, whether it's players stay overseas. For example, Jawan James is a JMU legend. He's I forget what country he's in, but he pretty much lives full time in whatever country he's in now. So he's not coming back, right? So that's an automatic no. Or some guys want an off season. So there's different things, but the roster management is definitely the hardest part. One, getting in touch with guys, like I said, and then two, getting responses. It's hard to get responses, whether it's the time change. And some of the criteria TBT requires to make a player officially part of the roster is hard to get from the guys and women as well. They got to send us this video and fill out some paperwork and all that stuff before they'll actually let us say they're on our roster. So tracking that down is probably the biggest part of our job. And yeah, Dimitrije was obviously on our list, and he was somebody who was actually on the roster in 2017 as well. And beyond basketball, Dimitrije, me and Kevin are personally close friends as well. And so he was an easy recruit for us. And we knew he can shoot the ball. We know he stays in shape. And we know he's getting his PhD in sports exercise science. I think he can go into more detail about that, and knows all the numbers and research behind how to shoot a 3-point shot.
Before we get into science stuff, I just want to say one more time that I appreciate you said we are, besides being friends, I appreciate, you and Kevin just putting this together. And I'm well conscious about how much effort and, you guys put into this process, but I really appreciate, just being on this team and, giving me opportunity to represent JMU, as I say, the school that we all love, and, our alumni. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity for everybody to get together and, just reunite, see each other again, because, we're a family that, life, I'll say, physically took us apart. I'm in Kansas currently. Joe is, in Virginia. Ron is in Hungary. So we're all over the place. But again, I think this is a great opportunity to get together, represent JMU, and do something that we all love, and that's play basketball.
And really bring everyone back together. Dimitrije and Andre Nation were freshman roommates. So when I made the hotel rooming list, I was sure to put Dimitrije and Andre Nation back together, just like old times. We need that good 2013 juju.
Absolutely. That was good stuff. That was a good wakes up great memories.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's the excitement level, Dimitrije, to be able to reunite with some of those guys and get back on the court? And then, yeah, like Joe mentioned, what are you up to these days, and what has you in Kansas?
I'll say this. I'm very excited. With social media, it's kind of easy to follow what people do, because you can see Instagram stories, Facebook posts, et cetera. But, just personally be connected. I think it takes that to another level. But I'm currently a doctoral candidate and graduate teaching assistant at the University of Kansas. Knock on wood, I'm finishing up my PhD in the upcoming semester, and my career is focused on sports science research. So sports science research for, I would say mainly basketball, just because of my previous experience, and some of the current projects. Actually, I just landed in Orlando to present at a National Strength and Conditioning Association conference, one of the projects that we have recently conducted. I'll say that's a little piece of a large sequence of data study, of research studies, looking at a kinetic and kinematic, or to simplify, biomechanical parameters for optimal basketball shooting performance, free throw, 2-point, and 3-point. So, and I'm a part of Jayhawk Athletic Performance Lab. So we have a close, I'll say, association with athletics and various levels of athletes performing on different levels. So just long story, focus on sports science research. So.
Awesome. That's super cool. And you've obviously got a great 3-point jump shot. Have you tweaked it at all given that research, or were you a science guy at JMU, or were you just good at shooting the 3-ball?
I'll tell you this. I got my undergrad in exercise science, kinesiology, exercise science. My master was in nutrition, and my PhD, my major is exercise physiology with focus on sports science. But again, I'll tell you this. I was my own research rat, so I was performing all these experiments on myself, how to train, when to eat, how much to eat, and I'll say majority of my ideas and everything kind of that motivates me to do this is my personal experience and just belief in this, and see how that changed my playing career and, everybody else that I consulted with, and everybody else that I cross paths with. So, I'll say it's dream come true for me. Sometimes it hurts me that, I never went and officially played professional basketball. I actually denied a couple of professional offers overseas. But again, I'm thankful that I was able to translate that passion for basketball and sports into sports science research, and in a world where I can help other people chase their dreams and reach, undiscovered potentials within themselves. So I'll say every single time, we have some findings that will help somebody play better, perform better. That excites me. Like I'll wake up every morning at 6 a.m. and just wait to go to the lab or talk to coaches, talk to, different professors in my department, or present to the conference, whatever it is. Again, in this world, just, wake up and try to help other people chase their dreams. But anyway, so sorry, I went a little bit longer. But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. And Joe, I guess going back to you, to have this roster finally come together and have a chance to watch JMU play, what's that mean to you given the work? And also, what does some of that daily work look like? Because I know we've both got the JMU connection. We've also got the UVA connection a little bit. This is not your full-time job. It's not TBT. So how do you find the time to manage a roster and all that good stuff?
Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks too, because as you said, I work in the athletic department at UVA, and I'm in the business office, and our fiscal year end was June 30th. But it's finding time after work, like we're doing here, to do things like this and get things set up. Me and Kevin, I think we probably, if not talked every other day, or not talked every day, at least every other day. And I think we'll be on the phone every day from here on out, or texting and calling with Nikki as well, just to organize things. But once we got the roster set and we knew, for the first, because they got rid of the voting, which that was the other thing TBT used to vote in, we spent the first pre-June 15th pre-June 21st, or whenever they released the bracket, trying to sell ourselves. So getting media obligations, or showcasing the talents of our guys, to show TBT we mean business. And TBT says there are 3 criteria for putting a team in is number 1 is fan base, number 2 is reliability, and then 3 is skill level, and then 4 is passion. They kind of added that one this year. But with fan base being number 1, we needed to show we know what JMU Nation's about, but they might not know what JMU Nation's about. Luckily, our contact, who's kind of one of the co-presidents, went to Richmond, so he kind of gets it. And we needed to show what JMU was about. And I don't think that, or I do think that softball's run certainly helped us, because it captivated so many people across the country on getting eyeballs on JMU. And I think that gave TBT a chance. I think we're going to be in it either way, but I think they gave TBT a chance to say, wow, there might be a been major, but their fans mean business and their fans are legit. And so since June 15th, it's been all planning. And my first job after JMU was actually director of operations for women's basketball at Mercer. So I feel like I'm back in my Dobo days, making sure hotel rooms are set up, making sure we're raising enough money to cover meals and travel, because this is not my team. It's not Kevin's team. It's these players' team, and it's JMU's team. And we want to make sure that they have a experience where they spend no money and they have a lot of fun. So trying to make sure we have money that they can travel and eat and get practice times and all that stuff, so that we have the best experience possible, but also go out there and win. I mean, we might talk about the matchup later, but it'd be a pretty big upset, both on paper, but just in terms of how popular a team Sideline Cancer is, if we can do it. And I think we're up for the challenge and excited for that challenge. But since we got in, Kevin's been doing a lot more of the player development, game planning stuff, while I've continued to try and do the administrative stuff and make sure everybody has what they need. Especially this year, we got to do some COVID testing for some people, and all that stuff, and organizing that and making sure they have it their schedule and all that stuff, and people know where to be and when to be there. So
awesome. Yeah, a couple questions left, and one of them was kind of the matchup. Just what do you know about Sideline Cancer? And then Dimitrije, what's the excitement level about being a 16 seed and having the opportunity to maybe pull a big upset?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit like we are this year, kind of what they were last year. They made a run to the championship game last year, and they became this fan favorite team. They're the only team to have played in every single TBT. Many have played in like all but one. They're the only team to have played in every single one.
Wow.
They have a great story because they play for this. I think it's the Griffith Family Foundation, a cancer research foundation. They have some really talented people. Their best, or one of their really good players, Marcus Keene. They call him Marcus Elam because TBT has the Elam ending that some people are familiar with, and he hit a lot of game winners last year. But last year they were like they did a tournament last year different because of COVID and the bubble, but they were like the 22 seed, whereas this year they were 1 seed in the West Virginia regional. So, they went in with this chip on their shoulder, and that's kind of us this year. Like, do we deserve a 16 seed? Maybe we do, but we're out there to prove that we deserve the higher seed. And I think beating the number 1 seed would do so. I think what does benefit us is we are guard heavy. Dimitrije is one of our bigs. We are a little guard heavy, but they are too. So I think I like our matchups with our guards and their guards, and we're just going to go out there and try. And I feel like people always say this, but we're generally just trying to go out there and be this scrappy and just rebound the heck out of the ball, defend the heck out of the ball. And the way the Elam ending is, I mean, as long as you're within a couple points at the end of the game, anything could happen. A couple Cabarkapa threes, and we're back in this thing.
I'll say this. I think a lot of people doesn't see everything that's going behind the scenes, and actually how much work, you and Kev put into this, into developing team, contacting all these players. You said collecting the funds, and just from my perspective, my career that I'm currently doing, I know how much effort and patience that managing these takes. I think it's a big part with Marv and Kevin. Marv, I call Joe Marv. So one day he'll be new Marv. So Marv and Kevin put behind them, and I think we have a great team. I think maybe we didn't play together for previous couple of years, but we all know what we can do, and all of us. Age is just a number, but we're trying to maintain all our capabilities, basketball skills throughout all these years. So I think that being 16th seed, and picked to play in this tournament against the guys that previously established themselves as a good players and a good team, I think it will be a good test for us. Definitely, we'll work hard, give our best effort, trust in each other, and just reach for the moon. Have a moonshot to beat them and be upset. I mean, if I remember correctly, this is basically how we were projected in 2012, 2013 tournament. With an upset against, if I remember correctly, Northeastern and Delaware. So in advancing to, beating LIU Brooklyn and playing against Indiana. Which, I mean, that team was amazing. There was a Victor Oladipo there, but anyways, long story short, I think there'll be a motivating factor for all of us. And I think all other guys and all other members, share my opinion in a way that we're just looking for something some motivating factor to give our best effort and show what we can do, and again represent JMU as a school that we all love and care about, and just play some basketball.
And Dimitrije kind of alluded to it, and I'm not sure how it's going to translate on the court, but I think one thing we're going to try to use to our advantage is that we're not playing an alumni team. So even though they might not have played together for years, six of our 8 JMU players were on that 2013 team, so they have played together before. So there is some sort of synergy. So Sideline played together last year, but I think, again, I don't know how that's going to translate on the court, but I think we're going to use that to our advantage in some capacity. And then even a handful of our non-JMU individuals on the team are friends and play on the same semi-pro teams as Devon and AJ. So there's some synergy there, and just combining those synergies to an even bigger synergy is our goal, in hopes of pulling off an upset and advancing to the second round of TBT.
And, I think that we have a team that has a diverse spectrum of talents, from shooting to rebounding to defending to, in different types of, I would say, basketball stats that we can do. So also coaching. And I think that just putting all those diverse talents in one team, I think that, and I really hope that they will be fruitful, and that we'll actually be able to, show who we are, and with a God's luck beat number 1 team. So we'll see.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you guys give it a shot. And then I just had 2 questions left. I was curious, Joe, you had mentioned AJ Davis being kind of the focal point originally of this team and wanting to come together. I guess if there's an update on him and his accident, and sort of how the group has maybe come together after that happened.
Yeah, obviously super unfortunate accident, and a lot more has come out publicly. He he's home from the hospital, still has some recovery and some rehab things he'll have to do to get back to where he once was before. But I genuinely mean that he's in great spirits. I mean, Dimitrije can agree with me. When he's on these team calls, you wouldn't know anything happened to him. He's the same old AJ, cracking the same joke, same smile on his face. And I genuinely don't think I would be that same way if the same situation happened to me. But unless something major comes up, he will be on the sidelines with us in Charleston as an assistant coach. He's going to be our offensive kind of coordinator and work with our men and women there and see what he can do. So we're excited to see him in Charleston. We'll hopefully get some more updates on his recovery, but he's been out mobile. He's been able to go to some of his semi-pro games, support his teammates that way. And he'll be in Charleston there with us. And he was very appreciative of everyone thinking about him and all that stuff. And hopefully we'll have more info and stuff that we can share and rally for AJ. And obviously everyone knows Devon and AJ are super close. So I know Devon's ready to battle for his cousin AJ, and hopefully we can do this for AJ too. And
absolutely, there will be another motivating factor for all of us. Because we know how much AJ loved basketball, and and how much we love basketball. And there was our basketball family, and I think, as I said, there will be another motivating factor. We will do everything to support AJ. I mean, it's unbelievable his toughness. Seeing him on these phone calls with a smile, with a cracking jokes. Like being positive. It is unbelievable for somebody to stay tough like that. And I had no doubt that it was so shocking. And I mean, it was, I don't even have words to describe when I heard those bad news. But it just shows AJ toughness. That he's still fighting, and he's still showing up with a smile on his face, getting on these phone calls with the guys. And I mean, it is just unbelievable. And I think there'll be another motivating factor for all of us to keep fighting and give our best effort.
That's good to hear, and awesome that he'll be on the sideline. That's really cool that he'll be able to do
obviously that. A tight timeline for recovery to get him this year, but we have all intents and purposes of being in TBT next year, and hopefully AJ can actually suit up and be on the court with us next year.
Awesome. And the last question I did want to ask that you had mentioned earlier, Kamaya and having Nikki and making sure that there was that women's program tie. What was it like to get them, and what does that mean to you to make sure they have that tie? I imagine most TBT teams rarely, if ever, have a women's basketball program.
Yeah, there's been in year one there was like an all women's team, and there's been a couple women's players here and there. I don't think there's any this year, and I don't even know if there's any coaching staff members, but I have a little bit of history working on the women's basketball side. So and I think every year women's basketball gets bigger and bigger, people watch the NCAA tournament and realize there actually is entertainment value here and stop making lame excuses on it and all that stuff. And so when Kevin and I first started brainstorming, the first thing I said was, we have to somehow involve the women's program. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but again, you can't say JMU basketball and not talk about JMU women's basketball when they're the third winningest program. They're the first team to upset a 1 seed in their first round game. And so I think our first option was, let's get Nikki on board as a coach, especially since she's currently coaching. And she was there during our time. And Kevin was actually a women's practice player before he became a manager and then a graduate assistant at JMU. So he had a little background with Nikki. She was all on board, and then we used Nikki to kind of help us recruit Kamaya and get her. We were super bummed that Kamaya didn't end up making the Connecticut Sun roster, but to our benefit, that allowed her to join the team with us and travel with us to Charleston. And she's been great on the calls too. I never really interacted with her before putting this team together, and I'm not sure if you had in your time at JMU or the overlap and all that, but her personality is off the charts. She's hilarious and does what we need her to do, and responds to things and helps us out in ways we can. I think Dimitrije can confirm that as well. But we're excited to have her.
Absolutely, both her and Nikki. I mean, they're, first of all, they have a great personalities and they're great basketball players, and they have an extensive knowledge about basketball as a game. And in that addition, that's unbelievable. That we were able to get them, and I'm happy about it. And I think, that, as I said, that's a big addition, and I look forward, just to being around them, playing with them, and to show that men's basketball, JMU men's basketball is represented as well as JMU women's basketball.
Awesome. I think I'd bet my $1 million that we're about to win when we win this tournament that we're the only team with a PhD student in the WNBA.
I think you're right there. That's awesome.
And the other exciting too, just to show just one more thing I want to add to show the family aspect of it, is if anyone's interested in coming to West Virginia, Coach Brady is actually going to make the trip with his family. Coach Brady will be there to support us, as well as Rob O'Driscoll, if you guys remember him. So that's really cool that all these years later, what is it, 2021? So yeah, 5 year, well, the 13 team was 8 years ago, and they left after 16. So excited that they'll be making the trip to Charleston and get to see them and their families, and have their support, even though they're no longer coaching at JMU, because they obviously meant a lot to a lot of us. And yeah, we're excited about that.
I'll say this, you say he's not coaching at JMU anymore, but again, that kind of that's true for all of us. I'm at the KU, I'm at the University of Kansas, you're at the University of Virginia. We're all over the place. But again, once a Duke, always a Duke, so go Dukes. That's always you carry with you. And I guess my heart rate just goes up every single time somebody mentions JMU this, JMU that, or it was, my phone was, and that's what, Marv said previously, my phone was blowing up when JMU softball made his big run, So again, just putting a JMU on a map wherever it is, and we're all part of JMU family, and supporting JMU and, showing up for each other. I think that is going to be great. So.
Fantastic. And last note, I guess, where can JMU fans, when will the opening round game take place? And you mentioned the Charleston, West Virginia. I imagine the COVID restrictions have been loosened, so people can, if they want to make that trek, watch in person, right?
Yep, 100% capacity, or I don't think the whole arena will be 100%, but TBT's to 100% capacity. Playing at the Charleston Coliseum. TBT specifically requested that we be in the Charleston region so that we have some people driving distance. So we would love fans, again, to our benefit, not playing another alumni team. If we get a couple fans, we could kind of take over that arena. July 18th, Sunday, July 18th at 5 p.m. is our first game. Right now it's on ESPN3. It could get flexed to ESPN or ESPN2. I'm not sure. Some game rooms recently have. I'm not sure what changed about those, but either way, we'll be on the ESPN Family Networks. Tickets are like $15 for the one game or $50 for the whole weekend. If you want to go to all sessions. What else am I missing? We're playing in the same arena that we played in when we played West Virginia in 2015-16, same hotel and everything. So
I really hope I have the same game as I had then.
Yeah. There's a lot of parallels with like we've already played in this arena and we already stayed in this hotel. And then if we do get 3 wins and advance to the final round, it's in Dayton, Ohio, which of course is where we played both games in the 2013 NCAA tournament. So a lot of parallels and a lot of great storylines that we're excited about. Beyond that, we have an Instagram presence, a Twitter presence, and we're just trying to put out content. And again, we want this to be JMU's team, no single individual's team. This is to help. We want this to be a team for 10 years to come and kind of create this culture where once your time's up at JMU, you realize that now it's time to go play for TBT and you're not done putting on the purple and gold and go win some money, but also represent JMU. And anything we can do to help bring both JMU men's basketball and women's basketball to the next level, we're here for.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm stoked to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's been a journey for you guys to get in, so it's awesome to have you there.
Yeah. I don't think it is a big deal. Humbly, it's a big deal, and I don't think it's hit me yet because we've been focused on getting it organized. I think once we step foot on that court, and me and Kevin will remember when we were putting in hours 5 years ago and now this year, when the cameras on.
That's a hard work.
That we're actually
hard work behind the scenes, like everything that you have to do until somebody, kind of acknowledges what you or anybody else have been through. So I think I already said this multiple times, but you and Kevin, you have been trying to put this team together for a couple of years. And, just being one of the 64, it's a big deal just to be a part of this. I think it's amazing. Just being involved into this basketball tournament. It's a great opportunity for all of us. And I'll just say, whatever happens this year, we're going to give our best. We're going to give 100% effort, 110. I guess that's not possible. We're going to give 100% effort and, hope for the best. And I think this is a great foundation for future opportunities. This is a great foundation for whatever might come in future. But again, let's worry about the present right now. Let's give our best and see where future takes us.
Yeah, and win or lose, we need that fan support to maintain in this thing. As I said, the number 3 criteria is talent. The number 1 is fan base, and so we need JMU Nation. I know fan eyeballs are a premium these days with so many other entertainment options. But we would love for y'all to tune in on July 18th or be there in person or shout us out on social media or whatever, because TBT sees that and notices that, and that's how they kind of select their teams. And like I said, we want this to be year one of infinity, not just year one of one. So.
For sure, and we get to see all the science behind Dimitrije's 3-point shot.
Yes.
Finally get to see it come to fruition.
Actually, there are a couple of publications that were recently accepted in a couple of scientific journals, and I'll be willing to share some of that stuff. You might find something interesting, because you're a basketball fan and you like basketball, so I'll forward some stuff to you.
Please do.
And Joe, and I think that might be of interest to you, and just to get a better insight into what kind of cool. When I say cool, it sounds is cool. Then I can probably just put a equal sign and put a nerd right next to it. But anyway, so I'll call myself a sport nerd. But anyway, so
awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it, and thank you to both of you for coming on and giving us the details.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.